across the city. Just driving in here to Alex, we saw long lines around polling stations. People are very eager to cast their vote. This is the 30-year anniversary since 1994, where 20 million South Africans went to the polls and elected the African National Congress Party with Nelson Mandela at the helm, effectively ending oppressive apartheid rule. And today, this is the most consequential election since the ANC, Mandela's party, potentially could risk losing their parliamentary majority. There are lots of other opposition parties, 51, vying for people's votes. And the people we've spoken to today are very aware of the power of their vote. They've seen the change it's brought in the past, and they're hoping it can help with soaring unemployment, high inequality, and the crime that has ridden their neighborhood and the country.
OK, Yusra, thank you. 51 separate
Where do you want to go? Okay, sharp. Back.
Nelson, thank you so much for your time. Firstly, just your impressions on how the system was working here. Are you happy with casting your vote here today?
Yes, absolutely. I think it went smoothly. Certainly observing the special vote process over the last 2 days, it's also gone smoothly. Of course, there's been a few hiccups here and there, but I'm generally satisfied with the way the IEC have conducted the last 2 days. And if today's and this station is anything to go by, it's going to be a smooth, easy process to make sure that South Africans can cast their vote and make tomorrow a better country.
Yes. Are you confident that the DA could win this election?
Well, of course, you don't go into an election for second place, but I'm also mindful of the fact that no party in this election will receive an outright majority. And for the first time in 30 years, there's an opportunity for change in South Africa at a government level. Every other election before this, it has been a foregone conclusion that the ANC was going to win. It was always about just how much. This election, all bets are off. And so we're heading into coalition country after this election. It won't be the same as it's been over the last 30 years. And I think that should excite Democrats all over the country and certainly those who value democracy all over the world.
Having spoken about coalitions, are you only willing to go into coalition with the multi-chartered parties, or are you also willing to work with the ANC or even the MK party?
I've said very clearly that we only go into coalition with parties that share our values, principles and common objectives. There's no use going into coalitions with parties that don't share your same values and principles, because they don't. That leads to instability. So I've assigned agreement with 10 other political parties, and we've been working very hard over the course of the last year to be able to put forward an alternative offer to South Africans. We've synthesized our policy offers, we've put on the table alternatives, and I'm very confident that the multi-party charter will get over 50% plus one. If that's not the case, we will convene as the multi-party charter over the course of the next few days, probably in Johannesburg, have a look at the lie of the land, and then decide what the next step for us to take is. But what I can tell South Africans is that the parties to the Charter will always put the interests of South Africa first, will always put the interests of the people that we serve first, because we are determined to build a better country.
Mr. Steenhuisen, when you look at the lay of the land thus far, what stats have you received of people going into voting stations? How are they voting? Well, how are you looking thus far?
Very good. We're very happy with the differential turnout yesterday and the special votes, and I think it's a good portent of things to come. I think you're going to see a high turnout amongst opposition voters who are excited that for the first time in 30 years there now is a path to victory for the opposition, and I think that's going to drive turnout quite substantially over the course of the day. And we're calling on all South African voters to come out and make your mark, because together we can build a better country, and that tomorrow can be a better country.
Your message to the Muslim community, particularly those who may have certain views about stances on Palestine and Israel?
Our stance is completely rational and reasonable. We're not on the side of Israel, we're not on the side of Palestine. We're on the side of peace and lasting peace in the region, which is why we believe fundamentally in a two-state solution that delivers a sovereign, unoccupied, independent Palestine that lives in peace alongside a secure Israel. That's why we've also been consistent in calling for a release of the hostages and for parties to get around the table so they can bring lasting peace to that region. I don't believe that bombardment and war resolves anything. I don't think it's going to release the hostages. I think the sooner we can get mature heads around a table from both sides to bring lasting peace to that area, but also to that region, I think the sooner that happens, the better it will be.
John, just zooming in on KZN, you've said that a lot of people may be surprised. Just speak to us about this.
Well, KZN is going to be one of the two major battlegrounds provinces, this and Gauteng. And also don't write off the Free State. I think the Free State is going to be the dark horse in this election. I think the ANC is in for a rude surprise there. But here MK have torn into the ANC's support. They've taken over wholesale structures, and the ANC is now polling in the 20s, which is unheard of in KwaZulu-Natal. And what that has done is open up a state of play that will allow a consolidation of opposition parties to perhaps form a majority here after the election. KZN politics on the 30th of May is going to be a completely different ballgame to what it was on the 28th of May.
Mr. Steenhuisen, I am seeking clarity in reference to Samkele's question about coalitions. You said that you are open to coalitions with the parties you've signed agreements with. We know that the ANC is not one of those parties.
Correct.
You're saying that any coalition with the ANC.
Correct. Well, what I've said very clearly is I don't think we're going to solve the problems of South Africa by keeping the same people around the same table, making the same bad decisions with the same bad results for South Africa. And I think this morning you've got a great juxtaposition. Just before me, Sbu Ndebele, the former premier of this province, came to vote. This is a man who's facing corruption and maladministration charges from his time as the transport minister in this country. He is still, obviously wanting to see justice in this case and to see him charged properly. But isn't that an incredible juxtaposition that he is quite proudly able to come and don an ANC T-shirt and vote in front of the cameras, despite the fact that he joins 97 other of his comrades and colleagues who have been found by the Zondo Commission to have been involved in alleged corruption, maladministration and jobs for pals that have crippled our country. So I don't think keeping those people around the cabinet table is going to solve the problems facing South Africa, which is why I fundamentally believe that residents in this election need to vote for change, and they need to vote for a clean, accountable government, and that can only come through the multi-party charter and its allies. There are other parties that are not currently part of the multi-party charter. It remains to be seen how they do in this election. But if the multi-party charter doesn't get over the 50% plus one mark, we will talk to other parties that are not part of the charter to see what can be done to prevent a doomsday coalition between the ANC and the EFF taking place, or instability and chaos. And I think that, as I said, the DA is ready to play its responsible part as an anchor tenant in an alternative government that will deliver for the people and not for the politicians.
Mr. Steenhuisen, under the leadership of a DA government in a coalition, what are the very first things on a national level that needs to be addressed in this country?
The first thing needs to be done is to open up and break the government monopoly on electricity generation and supply. You cannot grow an economy, you cannot create jobs, you cannot build a better life for people without electricity. And then a major focus on infrastructure to ensure that our infrastructure is able to facilitate growth. Our road network is in destruction, our rail network has been destroyed, our ports and harbours are destroyed and inefficient and ineffective, and that is holding back economic growth. Thirdly, we would introduce a new bill that would bring in the scorpions so that we could start going after the corrupt, and we will start with the 97 people who are named in the Zondo Commission report to have a multidisciplinary task team to go after them, to make sure that they are prosecuted and thereby setting an example. And then within the first 100 days, we're ready to table the end cadre deployment bill in Parliament that will bring to an end for any political party the prospect of being able to deploy people into key positions that are loyal only to the party and not to the people, and are deployed based on know who, not know how. Because we need to have a stable, honest, effective public service to be able to deliver to the people of South Africa. You can have the best policies, the best plans. If you don't have a public service that is fit for purpose and able to implement those, you don't have a chance in hell of getting your policies passed.
Mr. Steenhuisen, how are you faring in the Western Cape, knowing that some have predicted that the DA may be dropping within that particular province as well?
I look forward to baking a whole lot of humble pies for some analysts after this election about the Western Cape. I'm confident there that the people of the Western Cape will reward the DA for its excellent stewardship of the economy, clean, accountable government, keeping people safe through the law enforcement advancement program that's arrested 27,000 criminals in the past year. They will reward the Western Cape government for the 360,000 new jobs that we created in the Western Cape over the last year. And I think they'll reward the DA governments there for the 120 billion investment now in infrastructure over the next 10 years, where 75% of that budget is going to be ploughed into the Kailichas, the Guguletus, the Langas and Inyangas of the world. But there's just too much at stake, I think, for the people of the Western Cape to throw away their votes and throw away a good government.
How have you been...
Sorry, that all-important youth vote, of course, across the board, political parties were eyeing that. Just from what you've seen anecdotally today, from what you're hearing on the ground, are you pleased with the young voter turnout?
Yes, absolutely. And I think I'm very pleased with the young voter registration as well. I think that young people are realizing more and more that they may not be interested in politics, but it's been very interested in them. It's eating up their NSFAS money. It's destroying their ability to be able to start a small business and their entrepreneurial efforts. It is holding them back from being able to find work in an economy that's not growing. If you don't fix the politics, you can't fix any of those things. And I think young people have come to the fore in this election, certainly in the registration and certainly in the voter queues that we see here today.
John, you're talking about the chaos, preventing the chaos. What chaos maybe are you worried about?
In terms of?
In terms of collision, in terms of issue of collision.
Well, I'd hate to see a situation at a national level like what you see in Johannesburg, where there's been a massive over-fragmentation of the vote, where you have 18 parties, 11 of which have less than 1% of the vote. And it makes it impossible to be able to form a stable coalition. And that's why I've been telling people, come out and vote for the DA, because we will be the stable anchor in a new coalition, allow us to be able to form something new in the country. I do worry that if there's an over-fragmentation of the vote, that you're going to see repeated at a national and provincial level, the type of things we've seen in Johannesburg and Ekurhuleni. The best way to avoid that is by making sure you vote for a strong party with a track record of delivery that's able to demonstrate leadership in these coalitions.
Mr. Steenhuisen, how are you dealing with the simmering tensions that are seemingly there between yourself and the IFP, knowing the tensions that are there between the Zululand district mayor and the provincial leadership? How will your premier candidate Papas work when the tensions are palpable between you and the DA?
Well, look, I think that every election you see the temperatures going up a little bit. We have a very good relationship with the IFP. VF Schlebisa and I speak regularly. He's part of the multi-party charter. He's a cool head, and I have no doubt that whatever tensions may rise during the election, they will quickly simmer down and we will be able to work together. We've been working together very well with the IFP over the course of the last 5 years. We're in a coalition with them in a number of municipalities. We've been signed a service delivery charter, and I'm absolutely sure that they will find working with Premier Papas a wonderful experience, because he's a young man who transcends political boundaries, he transcends cultural boundaries, and I think he is a very compelling candidate who wants the best for KwaZulu-Natal, and that's why we put him forward.
Mr. Steenhuisen, under your leadership, what would be your plan with regards to the NHI bill?
Well, what we would do is repeal the NHI bill, send it back to Parliament to ensure that there's a proper and full discussion. We can have universal access to basic healthcare in South Africa, and it should be all of our goals. The NHI is not going to do that. The NHI is going to create an Eskom out of the healthcare industry in South Africa and provide yet another big pot of money to be looted, like Eskom's been looted, like Denel's been looted, like SAA's been looted, like every other pot of money's been looted. We have a compelling plan which we tried to push into the NHI during the parliamentary process, which would ensure good quality healthcare for every South African, regardless of their economic circumstances. And we're delivering it where we govern in the Western Cape, where no citizen is more than 5 kilometres from a good quality healthcare facility that heals the sick and provides good services. We can do that at a national level, but it's going to require a bit more maturity than the current approach. This NHI signing into law was a gimmick, a political gimmick by the president. He knows that his government didn't have the 200 billion rand to fund it. He knows they don't have the capacity to do it. And sadly for him, it's backfired, because if you've seen the ANC's polling in recent days, it has squeezed the ANC, particularly amongst the black middle class, who have fought their way through in an aspirational way, despite the ANC's holding back of the economy, to a position where they can provide medical care for their families now, and they don't want to see that destroyed by a bill that was signed for nothing other than political mileage. And I'm calling on all South Africans to support us in this election. We will get universal access to basic health care right, and we will make sure that it happens faster. NHI is going to set that goal back by a full generation if implemented in its current format.
Under the multi-party charter, have you had discussions yet with regards to who would be the country's president, the deputy president, and those type of stuff?
No, we haven't had any discussions around that, and obviously what that would have done if you had chosen a presidential candidate would have given one of those parties an unfair advantage. The approach that we've adopted is that we will see who gets elected after the election, We will then come together as the multi-party charter and have a discussion about who we would put forward together as the best candidate to represent the MPC should it get a majority. And I think that is the wiser way to go. We don't run presidential elections in South Africa. They are parliamentary elections. The parliament elects the president, not the people of South Africa. And while we have that system in place, it's important to see who gets elected. As I say, there may be somebody outside of the charter that might become a compelling candidate. And what you don't want to do is to shoehorn yourself into a situation where you've got no room to move then after the election results. The people of South Africa are today going to deal the cards, and the parties are going to have to play with the cards that have been dealt by the electorate today.
And John, your final message? People of South Africa?
Get out and vote. Got to get out and vote. This is the most consequential election since 1994. In 1994 was about economic and political freedom. This election is about whether our democracy survives or not, and whether our country has a better future. I fundamentally believe that tomorrow is a better country, and that's why it's important that everybody out there comes out and makes their voice heard. This isn't Morkel's where you get a 2-year guarantee. This decision you live with today is going to last a full 5 years. So make sure you use that vote and use it wisely to make sure you get the country, the government, and the future that you and your family deserve.
Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you very much, everybody. South Africa has the potential to be a great nation. But it breaks my heart hearing from so many people who are struggling to feed their families. People are tired of corruption, tired of load shedding, tired of empty promises. But it doesn't have to be this way. The Democratic Alliance is on a mission to rescue South Africa. Where the DA already governs, life is better. And that is why millions of people are moving to DA governments. Every day, we are working harder to do more. For the first time in 30 years, united as the multi-party charter for South Africa, we have a real chance to bring in a new national government that works. A strong Democratic Alliance will anchor a new government that can rescue South Africa. But we need every...
You guys are for serious?
No, I just told you that you're serious. Even though
Why am I here? Why?
You have done it. You done it.
Don't block me.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Hey, ma'am.
Hey.
위에 소스가 나이스. 저 고치를 받지.
You are trying something impossible.
Thank you, ma'am.
Don't push in the back. Guys, you're pushing us. Sadiq.
俺は映っちゃってもいいです。そこで撮ってください。
Thank you, Mr. President. President. Mr. Hands up, okay?
Never did look at that. Okay. Go this way.
Don't push them. Walk nicely, walk nicely.
Come. Mkhumuthi bam, Mkhumuthi. Bamba le truck in there. Chacha, get down.
Okay, guys. Whoa. Quiet, please. Let's just allow the president to give his impression of voting so far. Then
guys, sit down. Guys, go down. White here. That one. The lady with the white. Go down. The lady here. Down, please.
Okay, guys, let's all come down.
Cell phones, go back.
Come down, please. Let's settle down. The President will give the summation of his impression of voting thus far, and will only take 3 questions. Okay?
Well, thank you very much.
Camera.
Guys, you guys in the front here, you have to come down. We're not going to proceed with this doorstop if you don't cooperate amongst yourselves. Please.
This is a great day for democracy in South Africa. It's a wonderful day as well, bright and sunny. And I've heard that voting has started throughout the country, and it is going well. I am very delighted to be here, of course, with my wife, to come and vote in the township where I grew up, with the permission of the IEC. So it's wonderful to arrive here and to meet so many people who are coming to vote. They're voting for the stabilization and the extension of our democracy, and that is a great day for the people of South Africa. This is the day when South Africa decides on the future of our country, who should lead the government of South Africa. And I have no doubt whatsoever in my heart of hearts that the people will once again invest confidence in the African National Congress to continue to lead this country. I went into the voting station and greeted the various party agents and urged them to be relaxed and to smile. And then I proceeded to cast my vote. So it's a wonderful day, and I think it will go very well throughout the country. I spoke to the chair of the Independent Electoral Commission, and I told him that I'm now entering his precinct. At the door, at the gate, I said, I stopped being president. He's in charge and he's the boss. So I'm happy to be under his command and to be in the precinct that he controls for the day until he announces the results. So Thank you very much for being here in your large numbers. It just goes to show the interest that the world also has in our democracy. I met a number of observers, and President Goodluck Jonathan of Nigeria is leading here the observers from the AU and a number of other observers. So I was very delighted to meet them, and many other organizations are also represented here from various countries, particularly here in SADC. So we are really heartened to hear that there are so many observers. The chair of the commission tells me that we've got 190 observers who've come to observe our election. And I'm sure, as always, the IEC will run a good election, and they will once again deliver really good results, outcome. I've been very impressed, even as I've watched their operations from afar. I haven't visited the center yet. It's one of the best. World class, well organized, well executed. So I think the IEC gets my vote today. It's a pity they didn't run as a party, but they get my vote. So thank you very much for all of you being here.
Thank you, Mr. President. Oh, wait. Mr. President, Natasha Chico.
Yesterday, the IEC Cyber Mabolo had said that there's a clear orchestrated plan to undermine the outcomes of these elections. What's your reaction to this?
Well, we are concerned about the incidents that have been reported, incidents where the IEC has raised its concerns, but also one incident where the police even had to intervene by arresting those who were interfering in the work of the IEC. The work of the IEC is sacrosanct. It should never be interfered with. Because when you interfere with the work of the IEC, you're really interfering with our democracy. You are trying to subvert the will of the people, and the will of the people of South Africa should never be obstructed, be interfered with, or be obstructed in any way whatsoever. So we are concerned, and we once again call on all South Africans, particularly on this day, in the next few days coming, when the results will be counted, and before they are announced, that all of us must abide by the prescripts of our electoral law and our constitution as well. But I have my full confidence in our security officers throughout the country that they are going to execute their work. They will make sure that those who seek to embark on ways that will disrupt our elections will be dealt with, and they won't be dealt with severely. Well, yes, some political parties have taken issue with the address I delivered. It had two components. One component was to talk about the readiness of the elections, and the other component was to close off on the administration. Our administration, the sixth administration, is coming to an end, and we sought to say the people of South Africa, as they go to the elections, to choose whatever party they want, should be assured that a great deal of work has been done by all of us, all South Africans have been involved in pushing this country forward. And I was very careful to say all of us South Africans. But that is a matter that is now subject to the courts, and the less said, even by myself, the better. Because in the end, those that we decided to adjudicate over disputes amongst us, our judges, are the ones who will pronounce final judgment on this matter. So let's leave it.
Okay, last question, Kanita.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you for the opportunity. Just to ask, do you believe that the ANC ran a measurable campaign? And what happens if the majority of South Africans don't give the ANC a firm majority? How would you feel? How would that make you feel?
Well, to start off with your last question, the people of South Africa will give the ANC, as they vote today, a firm majority. So in my mind, in my head, and in my thought processes, there isn't even doubt. The ANC, under my leadership, ran a formidable campaign. We went through the length and the breadth of the country to reach out to our people and to also make those who may well have been doubtful about voting to be encouraged to vote. We were rather pleased that we saw more and more young people registering to vote, and we kept on urging the people of our country that we want to run a clean campaign, which we did, and we are determined to ensure that democracy is the winner in this whole election. So in the end, it is the democratic process in our country that is going to emerge victorious. And the ANC will reap the dividend from that by emerging as the winning party.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, colleagues. We have a long day ahead of you. Thank you.
Good morning. It is a bright sunny day. People are voting across the country, and we are in Alexandra in Johannesburg, one of the oldest black townships in the country. Traditionally an ANC stronghold. Nelson Mandela actually lived around the corner from here when he first moved to Johannesburg in 1941 as a young man. I'm here with Tabiso, 37-year-old graphic designer who grew up along the same street as Nelson Mandela and is voting today.
Yeah.
You've heard the ANC may lose its majority for the first time since 1994. How do you feel about that? And what are you hearing here in Alexandria, where people traditionally voted for the ANC?
I think it brings a lot of interest in this election because we don't know how things are going to turn out. We are hoping that they will not have like a majority like before, but share power with another party, so there can be a lot of accountability, because the biggest issue we've always had with the ANC is around corruption, and they have a way of just pushing their own agenda. So we're hoping that this will bring a more balanced share of power, meaning that there'll be more things done on the ground. So I think that's what we're hoping for. Growing up here, what have you seen from ANC governance? How has that influenced your life here in Alexandra? Well, at first, when we started back in '94, there was a lot of excitement and hope for a better nation. It hasn't been that bad, to be honest. There's a lot of schools that have been built, a lot of people that have received housing. We have water, like here in Alex, for instance, a lot of people don't have to worry about paying for water and electricity, which is because of the ANC. So there's things that we can be grateful for, but we're not saying that we are happy with everything. We're still hopeful for them to be more intentional about giving us a better life. A lot of the kids here are hanging around. There's not enough programs that are keeping them out of the streets, and therefore they get into things like drugs and stuff because of they just idle after school. Mm-hmm. And the education quality as well could improve. So yeah. Tabiso, what are you hoping that your vote will bring today? Change when it comes to job opportunities. We have a very low percentage of employment. So if my vote could bring that will be great. And also entrepreneurship, because I'm a business person as well. So there's a lot of opportunities that don't come directly to the townships because maybe we are not being equipped enough to handle big business. So we tend to trade amongst ourselves, and we don't get opportunities to trade outside. And I think with the intentional government that will focus on entrepreneurship and employment, it will be it will be worth my vote.
Thank you, Tabiso. Cool. We will be watching throughout the day as South Africa votes for their next governing party.